Eli Manning, thank you for joining us. I've got to ask you about the New York Giants news of the week. I know you were a big fan of Brian Daboll's. I also know that you're close to the Mara family. I'm curious, did the Mara family ask you for your input on picking a new head coach, and what are your thoughts on John Harbaugh?
I've talked with ownership and John Mara kind of during the season when I knew they would be in search of a new coach and kind of told them my thoughts on just the type of coach that they needed, and someone that had been a head coach before and understands what it's like to deal with the media and what it's like to kind of just be the same person year in, year out, day in, day out, and just kind of really be a CEO of not just the team, but the whole organization, the whole building, and hold everybody to a higher standard and be accountability. And I said the problem is I don't know if that person exists and that coach is going to be available. They don't come up that often, and then you see the news about John Harbaugh, and it's exactly the coach and the person that I believe we needed. And they responded quickly, and I think they recognized that as well, just because of the person that he is, first off, and the success he's had as a head coach. And so excited for the organization and getting back on track. There's no owners that are more committed to building a winning team and a winning franchise, and they want to win championships. The Maris and the Tisch family, they'll do anything for the players, the coaches, if they believe it's going to help us build a winning team and a winning culture. And they deserve to get back to winning games. They want this. The fans want it, and I think John Harbaugh is going to get us back to that situation.
We've seen some of your contemporaries get jobs recently where they're really in formal positions of decision making at the quarterback level, meaning Matt Ryan now has got to have a job with the Falcons. We've seen Tom Brady is sort of running the process, or at least very heavily involved in the process over the Raiders of picking a new coach. Troy Aikman is, dated you a little bit, but is sort of a consigliere now to the Dolphins. Would you like a more formal role with the Giants? I know you looked into becoming a minority owner.
Hey, I'm always going to be helpful and be there for the Giants. I'm close with the GM Joe Shane. I'm close with the mayor and the Tisch family, and always be a resource and look out for them. But I think at this time, just with what I have going and announcing and doing the broadcast on the ManningCast, other commitments that I have for kids and trying to want to coach them on their youth sports leagues and being around them. I don't know if there's time to have a formal role, but always happy to lend support and help them in any way. And so kind of like the position that I have right now.
You mentioned the ManningCast. You just finished your third season. Ratings were a little down this year. I know you're a competitive guy. Are there ways to reinvigorate this show for season 4?
Yeah, I think I just got to make fun of Peyton more. I think that you got to give the fans what they want, and I think that's what they want. Just me, just really harassing on. I was a little soft on him this year. My mom got on me a little bit, just saying, "Hey, you're being mean. He's my son also," and I just don't like it. So I always listen to mom and I take her advice, but I think we got to have a serious talk and say, Mom, we got to give the people what they want. And so maybe you just don't watch every show, and you might feel better about it. So I think that's will probably what will happen for next year.
Okay, fine. It's good advice. Maybe you can have your mom on the show more often next year. Maybe that's what the
That
people
that
want.
that I do like that. That is a great idea. I will give you credit for that when Olivia comes on next year.
We're headed into the Super Bowl. Obviously, you won 2 Super Bowls. I'm curious if there's an anecdote that kind of sticks in your mind, a story during the Super Bowl prep week that maybe you haven't told before or isn't sort of obvious, that as players head into that sort of dual week, that first week of media prep and then the second week of game prep, that kind of speaks to the Super Bowl experience, maybe something that surprised you or just something that kind of sticks out in your mind as unusual as you prepared for those two games?
Well, I think it's such a unique situation. I think athletes and football players are creatures of habit. And for the last basically, 24 weeks, they've been doing the exact same thing every week. And this week is kind of basically the same. You're in your home facility. You're preparing to play a game. You're putting in the game plan and you're doing all those things, and it's great. And it feels, there's an excitement and obviously this is kind of for next week as after these conference championships games are over, and so you're in the Super Bowl and you have 2 weeks to prepare all of a sudden. So that first week's the same, and then all of a sudden now you're in a hotel all week. You're in a different city. You're not at your home practice facility. You're watching film in a hotel room or on your computer. And so your schedule can get off a little bit. And so I think you got to prepare for that. And you got to have a game plan of, hey, on Wednesday nights, I always went to dinner with my teammates. I got to get a reservation. On Thursday, I did a lot of maintenance and got massage and then got stretch. Hey, who's going to do that for me in this new city in San Francisco? And so it's about trying to keep that same routine. And even though, hey, now you're taking buses to practice, you're not in your car. Just kind of getting into that routine where you feel comfortable, you feel like you've done everything possible, so you can go out there and hopefully play the best game of your season and the biggest game of the season.
One more Giants question for you. I remember when we talked a few months ago, right before the season began, you talked to me about how Russell Wilson was sort of well prepared to take the job because he was media trained, he knew New York City. Of course, as the season went, Jaxson Dart very quickly took over as the starting quarterback. How has your relationship with Jaxson Dart transitioned from the time where we spoke last, where he was not the starting quarterback, to today?
Well, I've known Jaxson Dart a long time. He was a quarterback at Ole Miss, so he's been to our football camp, and so just a great kid. And I think he's had a great first year, and he has the ability to throw the ball on time and be successful. He has the ability to run with his legs. He has the ability to extend plays and scramble, and also extend plays in the pocket and make plays. That makes it very hard to defend as a player. And so excited about the future, excited about as he grows as a player and as a leader. And I think the Giants are in a good place and have their quarterback of the future.
You are about to become a referee, as if your resume was not long enough. Tell us a little bit about this flag football referee initiative / game you've got going on.
Yeah, I've been around football my entire life. I've played flag football. I've played in Super Bowls, but Toyota has given me the opportunity to do something that I've never done before, and that is to be a referee. And so excited about this opportunity. And this is going to be Toyota's the Glow Up Classic, which is a glow in the dark high school flag football all-star game between some of the best female athletes in the Bay Area. It'll be going on during Super Bowl week. And, I love the game of flag football. I appreciate Toyota and everything they do and helping grow the game of football through their commitment to youth sports. They give up to $3 million annually towards flag football and youth sports that touches over 300,000 kids and gets them playing the game of football, which is unbelievable. So Kylie, Kelsey, and I are the referees in this game. We've been discussing the last few weeks. What is a catch? Is this a catch? Is that an interception? We're watching the playoff games, and I think we got it down, and we're ready to be referees and get a clean game.
Well, did you have to learn a new set of rules for flag football?
Well, luckily, I played a lot of flag football growing up when I was in middle school and lower school, and so I know the rules pretty well. My son plays flag football currently, and a big fan of the game. So I've been watching a lot of film on flag guarding. That's kind of, hey, no flag guarding
Yeah.
happening on my watch, and so understand that. But this is I'm not a guy who likes a lot of flags, so I'm gonna let them play. Let the athletes, let the game be decided on the field. We don't need the refs kind of determining a whole lot of plays.
Yeah, I'm sure the fans of the game will appreciate that. You mentioned your son plays. My kids play too. I'm curious if you look at flag football, at least on the boys' side, as a gateway to tackle football or sort of its own thing.
Well, I think that's an exciting time right now. I think it can be both. I think it is a great introduction into the game of football, and the fact that yeah, you can start playing when you're 5 and 6 years old. It's not a physical sport. You don't have hits. It's about getting kids throwing and catching and running and juking and learning moves and pulling flags and that skill set. And hey, if you want to transition in the tackle football at some point, that is wonderful. But the fact now that you have this opportunity to continue as a flag football player is perfect as well. And so you see it on the boys' side growing, the obviously on the female side, the fact that it is truly growing. It's becoming a sport in high school. It's becoming a college sport, emerging sport. So the fact that it's going to be played in the Olympics on both sides in the 28 Olympics. So I am a huge fan of flag football. I think it is great, and the fact that it's so accessible for so many kids, and that the fact that it doesn't have to just kind of transfer into tackle football. It is a sport on its own, and as it should be.
Last question for you, Eli. Got to ask you Super Bowl predictions.
Well, you know what? I think it's too early for Super Bowl predictions, but I really just want to promote that we got great games ahead, and I think all the games, these championship games, are going to be tight games. All teams are deserving. Everybody's written off the Broncos because of Bo Nix getting injured, but I think that's going to be a tight game, and it's going to be an awesome weekend of football, and excited to be a fan and just watch.
Well, can I at least get NFC and AFC championship predictions then?
All right, I'll go. I'm gonna go Patriots and Seahawks.
There you go. Pat Seahawks, a
All right,
rematch. Thanks, Eli.
there you
Much
go.
appreciated.
Thank you. Appreciate it.